And we are back with season 2 of the Game Time Athletics podcast. Brian, Paul, Jordan here. We've had baseball players, we've had football players, we've had the daughters of legendary boxers, but with all due respect to Muhammad Ali and his family, today we're going to have the strongest fighter we've ever had on the Game Time Athletics podcast. It's not Dan, but Dan knows him pretty well. But we do have Dan here from deckersblueprint.org, and let's take it from there.
I'm looking forward to this for a while. I've been calling you guys all day, being like, can you believe we have Decker coming on the podcast? Like, think about all the athletes, the adversity that this young man has faced already just as an 8-year-old has to be the most adverse moments that any other sports athlete's gone through. Shout out to Vic Muncie. I'm at a local charity event at Mill Wallace's event, Trials of Triumph, and Vic says, you got to meet this Dan Murphy guy. Cool dude. Vic's a funny guy. Dan, you know that. Funny guy, always cracking jokes. He says, you have to go meet Decker. What they got going on in this foundation, they started it from scratch, and it was just remarkable, and it caught my eye. I researched it. I went home, researched about Decker, and I was like, oh my God, this Duchenne muscular dystrophy is pretty serious. And what better way to use our platform in a positive manner, but to have Dan Murphy come on and to share his story about his son. So Dan, I'm grateful that you're able to take the time out of your day to come on here and talk with us about this. Definitely want to spread awareness to get your son the right treatment, hopefully raise some money through our platform. That way we could take it to the next level. We're going to have Decker join us later, guys. I know you guys get in line for the autographs. I'm first.
That's
by
right.
the way, I'm first. I got to make that clear. But I want to throw it to Dan because Dan is just such a brilliant mind. Him and I have talked multiple times on the phone. I know he has golf tournaments coming up. I know Sylvester Stallone reached out to you guys, giving him some fight under his wing to be able to help him get to the next level with disease that he will beat. The doctors can execute and do their job. I know you guys are familiar with the Rocky movie. We can get into that when Decker comes on because that's something that I would like to talk. But I want to throw it to Dan here just so he can kind of tell the story so everybody out there can be aware of this and what we can do to help this young man. Welcome to the Game Time podcast, Dan. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Brian, Paul. Really grateful to be on here today and educate people a little bit on this disease and share a little bit of our story with Decker. And thank you again to Vince. He introduced me to Jordan here as well and got connected. And Vince actually took me up to the Muhammad Ali camp up there in Reading and got a little tour of that. That was really neat. I never knew that, a little part of history. So all very cool. But
Amazing.
My story starts about 2.5 years ago. My son, Decker, who was 6 years old at the time, my wife and I just started noticing that he was struggling to get off the floor, go up and down steps. His muscles just seemed really weak. And we just started having some questions. We took him to our pediatrician and found out there were some concerns there. And within probably 24 to 48 hours, we actually got an appointment down at CHOP at Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. And to see a neurologist, and they did a bunch of tests and they had their concerns. And within 24 hours, they did some blood tests, and those blood tests came back positive with a CK value, which is breakdown of your muscles. And you're supposed to be typically in the range of 200 or below. And our son's came back at over 21,000. And so instantly within just a couple of days, my wife and I didn't know what hit us. Our son was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I had no idea what that was. It's considered a rare disease, and 1 in 5,000 boys are born with this disease. And unfortunately, what we found out through this is my wife is a carrier of this gene. And if you have this gene, you have a 50% chance, if you have a boy, 50% chance of having Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And unfortunately, we got the bad side of the coin. And my wife and I didn't know what hit us. You have your children and you have all your dreams and everything laid out in front of you. I'm not naive to know that life gives you detours and gives you difficulties and you have to change and make different decisions in your life. But never expected something like this to hit my family. So my wife and I, we truly didn't get out of bed, I think, for 2 weeks. And that was really hard. And I thought my pain and suffering was past me in my life. I actually lost my dad when I was 5 years old to a rare cancer. And there's a lot of good things that came out of that in my life. My brother and I and my mom, the three of us, got very close. We had to grow up fast. I had to learn how to fix the lawnmower when it broke myself. I'd tear it apart, and my mom would drive me to the hardware store, and I would say, this part doesn't look right, go back, put it back together, and just figured it out. And then in my own personal story, when I turned 20 years old, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So I have an autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease. Was hospitalized many times in my life, almost died 3 times. I was septic in the hospital until they figured out I had Crohn's disease. So we really, when our son got diagnosed with this, we just weren't sure how we could handle this and what we could do. So we chased ourselves all over the U.S., looking at different hospitals, different doctors, looking for treatment cures. And of course, we found some. This disease has been around for a long time and has not had a ton of success in the medical field. But for the first year, there were some gene therapies and different things that came out. And unfortunately, our son didn't qualify for any of those gene therapies. There's a certain percentage of boys that don't qualify. And I guess what I should explain here, this disease, typically kids are diagnosed between 4 and 6 years old of this muscle wasting disease. And what happens is there's a mutation in your DNA in the DMD gene, and that gene creates dystrophin. We all need dystrophin to have healthy muscles. So it constantly restores and helps rebuild your muscles. And if you don't have dystrophin, your muscles eventually break down, and eventually these boys end up going into a wheelchair by the time they're 10 or 12, and life expectancy in the low 20s, ultimately losing their life by heart and lung failure, because your heart is a muscle. So learning what this disease was, how it affects your body, was devastating. We chased all the doctors and whatnot in the U.S. for a year with different treatments. And unfortunately, our son didn't qualify because he had antibodies. And some of these gene therapies, if you give them this gene therapy, it can create an autoimmune response and can unfortunately kill your child. So that was after a year of really hard searching and reflecting on what's best and how to fight this disease. And because there was no options for our son, as well as about 15% of children in the U.S., not to mention the world, that just wasn't acceptable to us. And that's where Decker's Blueprint was born.
Based off what's said so far, is he took the bull by the horns and got the game into his hands instead of just letting this thing go. And the fact that he involved his son and both of them were working together. Brian, you brought up to me earlier today when you said how he designed something. Is that true? Decker
Yeah, I was
design?
reading about how Decker designed a Lego model of Chop after he went to Children's Hospital Philadelphia.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I'm a home builder by profession. I've built a lot of homes in my life. I worked for a very large home builder for 17 years and was the vice president there. And so my son loves architecture. He loves drawing and designing. He loves building with me. And for years, he would sit next to me drawing and designing homes and blueprints. And he's amazing at it. I have several stacks of blueprints here in my office. So the cool part is when we went down to Philadelphia the first time, my wife and I scared to death knowing that something's not right. He was looking at all the architecture and look at these big towers and these big buildings, and the buildings connect with catwalks from one building to the next. And when we came home from the hospital that night, he went out and got his magnet tiles. It was actually magnet tiles, and built, I would say, a complete replica of the CHOP hospital with the cantilevers and then also those crosswalks from building to building. And I went upstairs and grabbed my wife and I said, you have to come see this. And he was only 6 years old at that time, and he literally replicated it with these magnet tiles. And I was blown away. I took pictures of it, and I was so proud of him that he saw it and he built it. And he gets a lot of that from his dad, I guess.
Amazing.
That's incredible. The fact that your family has taken this into your own hands and basically said, that's not good enough for us. We're going to find a way. We're going to make this happen. We're going to create Decker's Blueprint. And the fact that he was involved, absolutely amazing. I watch Decker's videos. I watch him run up the Rocky steps. And I know let's just start with this. Sylvester Stallone reached out to you guys. How did that go down? Were you in contact with anybody from Sylvester's camp, or did somebody notify him? Did you just receive the video? Love to hear how that went down.
Yeah, so we are not celebrities by any means. We just work very hard. And that year after our fight of looking for different treatments and cures and whatnot for our son, we were down at CHOP again and got some bad news that we can't get any of these gene therapies. And at that moment, it was either they basically said, you can go home and love your son and he's going to die. And when they said that instant, I said, that is not going to happen. I'm going to fight like crazy to fight for our son and these boys being left behind. And I told my wife, I said, my whole life I've watched the Rocky movies and have experienced that with the loss of my father. And I just said, when you get knocked down, you get back up and you just keep going. And we got to elevate this. We got to start a foundation to fight for our son and these boys. And when we left there, we stopped at the Rocky steps. I wanted to show my son because he loves Rocky. We watch Rocky all the time, my daughter as well. And we play Rocky on the living room floor almost every night. We box each other. It's our time to bond and connect. And it's because I've shown him and introduced him. He's been literally a father figure to me in my life. So I took him to the Rocky steps and I said, we're going to make a video to help launch Decker's Blueprint. And Decker's Blueprint is our foundation, and it's the blueprint to his cure and treatment because he also loves drawing home blueprints. So I wanted to tie it into his skill set and what he does. But what we did is we created this special video, which is on our website, deckersblueprint.com, is the initial video that we created of my wife and Decker and I walking up the Rocky steps. And those 72 steps are just signify the challenges in life that you have to do to keep hitting each step, but just to keep pushing forward and keep rising, what Rocky preaches. And that I've done that my whole life. I don't know any different. I don't like taking no for an answer. And so we created that video, and then we launched Decker's Blueprint, and we launched that we were having a gala, our first gala last year in 2025. And as we started pushing that out, within 90 days, we sold out with over 400 people attending our gala. We've had huge community support. And through that, I was pushing that Rocky video. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to get to Sylvester Stallone. I just told her, and she kind of laughed at me, and she just wasn't sure I was serious. I said, no, this is what we're going to do. We need to make this bigger than us, bigger to drive this cure treatment. Through some friends, somehow, after a lot of talk and communication and podcasts like this, just people talking, they said, I know Sylvester Stallone. I went to high school with him. So they took our video,
Wow.
and somehow one of those friends shared it with Sylvester Stallone. And 3 days before our gala, they called me into their office in Lancaster, and they said, we have something special for you. We'd really like you to stop by. They pulled me in the conference room, and they pulled up that video of Sylvester Stallone that is a specific, very direct message to my son. He addresses Decker right in the beginning. He gives a really inspirational speech of hope and drive and not give up. And at the very end, he says, keep punching.
Hello, Decker. This is Sylvester Stallone. Maybe you've seen me in Rocky and Rambo. You know, trying to play heroes. You're going against impossible odds and eventually becoming out victorious. Well, now it's your turn because you're a real-life hero. What you're doing is important. It's not a movie. It's not pretend. It's real. And no one's better to do it than you because you've been fighting a long time. And now you're about ready to win, to be victorious, to be the champ, and have your hand raised in victory. Keep punching, Decker. You're an amazing kid.
And I've been punching my whole life, and I'm not going to stop. I don't think Sylvester realizes how inspirational that video is to me and my family and our friends. Everybody I go to, I share that video and tell our story. And he's just been a huge part of my life, and I've never met him. I reached out to them again through that source, trying to connect again. We haven't been able to, but I would love the opportunity to meet him someday for my son and my son to meet with him. It's been a huge part of my life.
So what did Decker say when he saw that video?
So I wasn't even going to tell my wife because we played that video at the gala live to all 400 people. Nobody knew I had it. I did share it with my wife beforehand, and that was the first time Decker saw it was at the gala. And we have a clip of him on video reacting with his face, which is in our highlight video of that night. And we show a clip of the video of Sylvester Stallone. My son was just, blown away, couldn't believe it. And we watch it all the time. And even my daughter, Dylan, she kind of laughed. She's like, well, when's Rocky going to send me a video? I said, I'm working on it.
Right? That's amazing.
In person, he's got a huge, been a very successful person in his life. And I love that he did that for my son.
Now, I know you guys are big on the flex. Who created the flex? Was it Decker? How'd it go down? Because I know guys, Paul, you have Brandon Graham from the Eagles doing it. President Bush, who
Yep.
did that? He did it because he passed the law back in 2001, correct? What other celebrities? I see them all flexing. It's just an incredible movement right now, which is just inspiring.
Yeah, so part of the excitement for me, again, is to blow up Decker's Blueprint. We really need the awareness to help grow funds. We have an awesome plan, which I can share some of that. But I wanted to create the Flex Challenge. How do we get people to how do we get awareness? How do we get people to think about this disease? It's a muscle wasting disease. So what better way to share is to build muscle and flex. And as I'm meeting people and celebrities and whatnot through this journey, because they've been very helpful when I share our story again, and I get them to flex. So a few months ago, I was able to, through friends again, who connected me with some tickets to meet President Bush. We met President Bush, and I got to personally give him a handshake and actually a hug, because I just said, "You're the only reason why my son probably has a chance today," because he signed the Muscular Dystrophy Act into law in 2001, which funded the first $100 million to really, at a federal level, to fund to help fight this disease. Because there's different types of muscular dystrophy. Duchenne is the worst, and it affects kids, but there's different levels. And so gave him a hug, got him to flex. And then through this, we got connected with Brandon Graham from the Philadelphia Eagles and got him to flex. What a great guy. Brandon Graham couldn't have been any nicer. He gave me like 4 hugs and he said, "You keep fighting." And it's those little things and words of wisdom, and it just helps drive me forward every day. And then also met with Ron Jaworski, the sports reporter, got him to flex. And then also the gentleman, Taylor Kenny from Chicago Fire, the movie actor, got him to flex. And just keep going down this list of people that have been introduced to us, helping us get this awareness and grow out there. It's been an amazing journey. So we're flexing to build muscle, build strength, build awareness.
And athletes
So-
just like to
so-
flex too, so it's a natural response for them.
I want to
Absolutely.
see Jordan Green flex
Yeah,
at the
that's
end
right.
of this thing.
Let me tell you something. You have your own wrestling federation. You have enough flexes going on. You'll see him this Saturday.
Yeah,
So you
I'll
don't
go
need-
short. I'll go shirtless if I have to. We'll put the guns up.
We might have to bring commercial. We might have to cut to a commercial right for that one.
Don't be surprised.
Since 2011, Innovate Media has transformed everyday spaces into powerful engagement platforms. What started with commercial massage chairs has grown into a multi-concept, multinational network delivering over 2.5 million guest experiences every month. With more than 10,000 assets nationwide, our partners rely on us for industry-leading coverage, data-driven insights, and technology that creates real one-to-one consumer connections. At Innovate Media, quality isn't a tagline, it's the standard behind every experience we deliver. If you're ready to evaluate your property and unlock new revenue, visit Innovate Media and see what smarter engagement can do for you.
Great-grandfather Frank started it, a little store in downtown Pottsville. 4 generations and over 100 years later, Murphy's is still a neighborhood jeweler experience. Sure, with a few more brands, but still defined by a passion for fine jewelry and timepieces. A genuine enthusiasm for people and the patience to get it right. That's how we did it in 1913, and that's how we still do it today. The Murphy Experience.
Yeah, and part of the flex too is just you're usually smiling or happy when you flex, and it's, to me, it's a positive thing. You know, I'm a very positive person in my life. You don't get anywhere being negative and complaining. I'm very methodical. I put a plan together and I push forward. So the flex kind of just fit for me, and it's kind of think of it as like the ice bucket challenge. I said, how can we make our own thing that grows this thing large? Because the research is there today to fix this disease. In my opinion, there's some really good things happening. It's just that the spectrum of Duchenne is very wide, and depending which version you have, you're either going to get a life-saving treatment or you're going to be left behind. And my son is not going to be left behind, and neither are these other boys. So what we're doing is going to help a lot of kids. And we are not just throwing mud to a wall and hoping it sticks. We have a really solid plan with the 2 therapies that we're funding that, God willing, in 18, 24 months, our son and these boys will receive. That could be a life-saving treatment that will make it chronic versus terminal.
No, he will beat this. He will beat this. And for our audience all over the world watching this, help them out, right? Now's the time where we can help them out. There's no quit in him. When you see him come on this broadcast, there's no quit in him. There's no quit in his wife, his daughter, and it certainly is son Decker. They have a lot of momentum here. Let's keep it that way. Where could they donate? I want to make sure we just put that on the screen right now where anybody across the world can donate to help you and your son.
Yeah, the best place to support would be going right to our website at deckersblueprint.org. Right on the website, there's a donate button, and they can donate via credit card, ACH, or just mailing a check. Those funds go a long way. I am 100% volunteer in our organization that we're leading, my wife and I. We have very low overhead. I don't know the exact dollars at the moment, but $98 of every 100, 98 cents of every dollar is going right to the research. And we have contracts with two specific companies and scientists who are working very specific at what's called an exon skipping. Within my son's disease, it's called Duchenne within the DMD gene, and it's part of your DNA. So in that DNA, it's like chapters in a book. The way I explain it to people, it's chapters 1 through 79. So when you're to make dystrophin, so when your DNA fires in that gene, it has to go like reading a book from chapter 1 to 79. And my son has a mutation at chapter 12. So in his body, when he gets to chapter 12, it's a mutation and makes it stop. So his body's not making that dystrophin to repair his muscles to keep growing. It stops. So this exon skipping is basically a treatment that goes to chapter 11 and jumps 12, because it's exon skipping, jumps 12 and goes to 13. As long as you finish the book, as long as you finish the story, it creates a healthy enough protein dystrophin that would repair his muscles and make him healthy. There's two companies out there already today who've already created exon skipping for different chapters, chapter 51 and 44. They're jumping it, and those kids are doing very well. They're running, they're getting stronger and playing sports. And that has just come out in the last 12 months. But you have to make that special recipe for each chapter. So you have to tweak the recipe. And what we're doing is we hired and put together a team of scientists who already work on this disease that are creating the specific recipe for the chapter 12 skipping. And they're having really good results in the lab. And we're really excited about that. And God willing, several of these kids will get a life-saving treatment to make it a chronic disease in 18 to 24 months. The second piece that we're funding is called tRNA technology, and that's out of Rochester, New York, with Dr. Leweck. He is specifically working on nonsense mutations. My son has a nonsense mutation within that DMD gene, so his mutation is at exon 12. But nonsense mutation is multiple diseases, so there's 35 to 40 million people in just the U.S. that have a rare disease. 10 to 15% of rare diseases are made up of a nonsense mutation. And what a nonsense mutation is, so when Decker's mutation happens at chapter 12, it's just creating this stop sign. So the first track that we're funding is skipping chapter 12. We're skipping that stop sign. The tRNA technology is going to chapter 12 and tricking that stop sign to be a green light just to read through it. So instead of it stopping at 12, we're going to trick it, make it a green light, and go to chapter 79 so it makes the protein. If we can be successful with this tRNA technology, it could help 3 to 4 million people in the U.S. because of those 40 million people, 10 to 15% are nonsense mutations. There's multiple different diseases out there, not just Duchenne, that we can help. So those are the two tracks we're funding. Track 1 with exon skipping is already proven with 2 different exons with 2 different companies out there. And that's why I feel so strongly about this, that we're going to figure this out because it's already proven. We just have to tweak the recipe. I explain to people, like, the science world has figured out how to create the white can of paint. And when they're doing this exon skipping, they're creating a different dye color. They're taking the blue or the red dye and dumping it in the white paint, which skips exon 51, or they're taking the yellow dye and dumping it in the white paint and skipping 44. In Decker's Blueprint, we're creating the blue dye and dumping it in the white paint to skip exon 12. So I knew that was a lot of information, but we're really excited about it. We have a solid plan. And that's what we're funding and very heavily, and we're getting pretty good preliminary results in the lab.
The plan
Excellent.
is so solid, and the way you described it makes complete sense because you got to trick your body to produce the proper protein. It's not like you have to go 9, 10, 11, 12. As long as you skip it, it's almost like how I used to read books. Right to the end, get to the cliff notes, and keep it moving, right? I mean, ultimately, that's the analogy that you gave. It's basically cliff notes and get through the book just so they could skip it. We got to get the kids the protein. That way he's able to maintain his muscle and then obviously, live a solid life. And that's the goal. And we're going to do everything we can on this podcast, Brian, on this podcast, Paul, to put this out there to as many people as we possibly can. You know, I'm very appreciative of Vic Muncy being able to introduce me to you. Dan, second I read about Decker, I was like, we need to help him, put him in position to be successful. And we have the doctors on our side. We have our platform and the people here on our side. There's nothing that we can't do together. And it's incredible. Your mentality, obviously, you know, I never met your wife, but I'm sure she has the same mentality. And to have an 8-year-old boy be that strong through this whole process, to stand on top of those rocky steps and flex his muscles like that, that is a monumental moment that will live forever. We had all these guys on the pod, right? We had sports athletes, cheerleaders, Harlem Globetrotters, you know, we've had them all, but nothing compares to this. These are those episodes that are special. To compare it to the Chris Gracious episode. Make-A-Wish was started because of Chris Gracious. His wish, they took him up in the helicopter. And since Chris Gracious went up in that helicopter, 700,000 wishes were able to come to fruition because of that moment. Decker's father, Dan Murphy, just said, we get the proper funding for this research, we could save 3 to 4 million kids' lives just like that. This little podcast at that moment in time isn't so little anymore, guys. This is what it's about. This is so powerful. I'm counting down the seconds till Decker makes his appearance on this show, though. That's something. I know Paul is. Look at Paul smiling over there.
Absolutely.
You trying to get him in the wrestling? Hey, Paul, you gonna get him in the wrestling?
All it is to do is say the word. There'll be tickets waiting for him anytime.
I need him on the turnbuckle. I want him in the ring.
Sure,
they can make it happen.
Deal.
They can make it happen.
I'm happy. I'll bring him in here in a minute. I'm excited to bring him in, and just wanted to share, like, it's tough because this disease it's every day. It doesn't go away, and he's slowly, muscles are breaking down a little bit every day. And you know, some of the first symptoms are, you know, they start tripping, they start falling as it's progressing. And just a couple of weeks ago, and you started falling once or twice, and you're like, is it getting worse? And we've traveled to so many hospitals across the country and different doctors and scientists. I literally quit my job to focus on this full time, 100%, and very grateful for the life I have and what my wife and I worked for to put me in a position to fight for him and these kids basically full time. And it's exhausting, you know, just this podcast, so awesome, so grateful. But my wife and I work all day today, taking care of the kids. We also have a daughter who's healthy, thank goodness, and trying to run her to your dance practice and different things. When you're a young couple with 2 young kids, life is busy as it is, let alone a rare disease. So it really opened my eyes to these families who have these rare diseases and Duchenne and the life that they're living. It is very difficult, and they don't have near the resources that my wife and I have, and we're doing well. We're not super wealthy by any means, but I don't know how people do it. And it just really opened my eyes to how we can help these families. And visiting these children's hospitals, until you actually walk through a children's hospital and see all these really sick kids and wheeling down the hallway in gurneys and beds and stuff, my heart just gets torn out. And I'm on a solid mission to fix this disease. And this awareness and what you guys are doing is tremendous. And I'm just not going to give up. I'm literally working 24/7, and we're just going to keep fighting.
And we're grateful. We're grateful for the opportunity to compete with you, man. We really are.
And that's when you also have to look at just the story you've told, Dan, where obviously when you're 6 years old, you don't understand the level, the gravity of what's going on, but it's so amazing, the resilience of children to go through this. You're in a strange city in a giant building, and you know, all these doctors poking around at you, and the thing you take away from it is, oh, I'm going to remember every architectural detail about this building and make that replica. That's the amazing thing. That children so young could be so resilient is incredible.
You know, some days I get frustrated saying this, but if any child could have this disease, my son can handle it. He's such a good kid, and he's taking it in stride. And just a few weeks ago, we had him. I flew him down to University of Florida to do a specific muscle scan of all his muscles to see what kind of stage he's in. And he's just a trooper. He's got the greatest attitude, goes along with it, does what we ask. And how do you explain to a 6-year-old, now 8-year-old boy what's going on? And the way we explain it to him is he has special muscles. So you'll hear me say that or him say that he has special muscles. Obviously, I'm never going to tell him what all that means. When he asks questions, I'm very honest with him and how you can explain that to a 6, 7, 8-year-old boy. But man, it is tough. And then, I mean this respectfully to all my friends and family, but when they're talking about and complaining about all the soccer games and baseball games they're running to and tired, I would love that opportunity. I would love to be exhausted from running to sports events, and they should. They need to enjoy their life. They absolutely should. My life is just on a different journey, and I'm really hoping we can make a big impact. We've had a tremendous amount of volunteers step up. We have a fundraising team now for Decker's Blueprint, all volunteer, and they've stepped up in a huge way. We have our next benefit, our golf outing, and again, would love anybody's support, just donations, or if they're golfers and would like to play, we'd love to have them. We still have a few open slots.
May 14th, right?
May 14th, and you can go to deckersblueprint.org, and on events section of our website, they can find the golf outing and register for it or make a donation. But again, it's May 14th. That's coming up next week here in Lancaster, PA at Overlook Golf Course.
Amazing.
Well, and I would love the opportunity to get in front of Sylvester Stallone again. So if he's listening, please, my son would love to meet you. We'd love to say thank you in person and keep driving this thing forward. He helped us launch Decker's Blueprint.
And that saying in that movie, it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how many times you get hit and you keep going, right? That is just motivational the way it is right there. What's that Japanese proverb, Bri?
Fall down 6 times, get up 7.
So let's bring in the celebrity.
All right, let me grab him. So this is Decker. Decker, these are some friends of mine who are putting us on a podcast that goes on the internet to help share our story of Decker's Blueprint and your special muscles. And they wanted to just meet you and talk with you.
Where is he? I can't even see him.
There he
Where's
is.
the celebrity? Where's the
there.
celebrity? I can't see him. I see his poster. I don't see him though. What's going on, Decker? How are you, young man?
Good.
So we have a podcast here, and we usually interview famous people, right? And we had baseball players, World Series MVPs come on. We had Harlem Globetrotters come on. We had Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. But none of that really lines up to the level of a celebrity that you are. We've heard so many great stories. We saw the video clip of you going up the Rocky steps and getting to the top and doing your signature flex. Is he there? Could I just have a move over so I could see him? I got to see the man. I got to see the celebrity. Where's he at?
You can't see Decker?
He's showing up on the recording. It's the aspect ratio.
There
he is. Yeah, me and Paul can see you now.
Now we can
First of
see him.
all, I know these two guys want your autograph, but if you don't mind, I am the one that set this whole thing up, so I need the first autograph. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sign your name for him.
You can sign your name.
And I want mine in a holder, in a card holder like that, so I can keep it.
Yeah, you'll get it authenticated, won't you, Paul?
Absolutely. We'll
He's
get it.
very good at signing his name.
So, Decker, I have some fun questions to ask you. I just want to get to learn a little bit about you, right? What is your favorite food?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. I like hot dogs. Do you like ketchup on your hot dog, mustard?
Yeah. I like ketchup.
There you go. How about your favorite after school snack? What's your go-to?
I don't know.
You love eating all the candy.
Candy, all the chocolate, right? Is it chocolate candy or what is it? Is it
Chocolate
sour?
candy.
Okay. How about your favorite movie?
What?
Top Gun.
Top Gun. He loves Top Gun too.
Top
he loves
Gun.
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Okay. Where does Rocky rank on that list? I heard Sylvester Stallone got in contact with you. Is that true?
Yeah.
That is an incredible moment right there. So I hear you and your dad reenact the Rocky fights in the living room, right? Who wins those bouts? Okay. How many rounds are we going, gentlemen?
He likes to do at least 3.
And just because he's got blonde hair doesn't mean he's Drago. Just because he's got blonde hair, he's Drago.
He can hit pretty good. His sister might be able to hit harder. I'm not sure.
That's always the case.
She must break you.
Yeah.
So if you had one superpower, what would it be?
Running fast.
Running fast.
Running fast, yeah.
He his goal with his special muscles is to be able to run really fast, and we're God willing, we're gonna do that.
So what did it feel like when you got to the top of the Rocky steps? When I saw you, I could not believe it. These guys kept talking about it the whole day. They just kept talking. Did you see him get to the top of those steps? Did you see his face when he succeeded and he put his hands up? Wait, am I doing the flex right? You guys got to, first of all, you guys show us how to do the flex. How do you do the flex?
Gotta go over the
You
top.
got to do it. Yeah. Oh, you go over the top with it. Okay. That's amazing. Look at those muscles. I like your haircut too, by the way. That's a fresh cut. So I heard, built a Lego set or a Lego of the building of the hospital. Is that true?
The magnet tiles that you built of Chop when we went down to visit?
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
Like a couple minutes.
He's a
It takes
prodigy.
me
It's not gonna
days to
take
put
long.
Legos together. That's a
I still
2-day
can't
project for me.
Yeah. Magnet tiles.
That one was
That's it.
magnet tiles, but he has. You should see his room. It is full of Legos, and he is the master builder.
Do you have like a
Right, you
favorite
have-
building you've seen, like the coolest building you've ever seen up front, up close?
Yeah, I built a 18 plus
Right off.
He
Yeah.
built it's a Lego that's 18 plus
Christmas.
that he got for Christmas from
You're
Santa.
advanced, so it's nothing.
He put the whole thing together, 18 plus. So he's proud of that.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I could do that. These Lego now are they're too much. They're complicated.
So Decker, I have to tell you this. These two guys right here, they have a wrestling federation, right? You ever see like WWF and WWE?
What is
I don't know
It's
if he's
sim-
actually
it's-
seen those.
It's similar to boxing, right? They're fighting each other and everything like that. They have a wrestling business where they have shows on the weekends, and it's relatively close to your house. And I just want to throw this to Paul because he has an invite for you to possibly come to a wrestling show. Is that right, Paul?
Anytime you want to come, just let me know. We'll have tickets at the door. We'll put you right in the front row, and then we'll bill Uncle Jordan.
You bill me, no problem.
No problem.
Hey,
He got you.
I need him to be able to walk down to the ring with a
He
wrestler.
can do whatever he wants to do, and it's on the house. It's on us. We'll let you off, Jordan. You can buy us something to eat.
Okay, that sounds good. Burger King, McDonald's, maybe.
No, then we gotta get one of these then too.
No, you know what I'm getting you guys? Hot dogs.
There you go.
Because that's my man Decker's favorite food.
Extra
hot
ketchup.
dogs.
I go
Extra
with I go with mustard. I'm a mustard guy.
So Decker, I have a little bit of a surprise for you. GameTime Athletics. This is the shirt. I'm gonna bring you a shirt next time I see you. I'm gonna try to get him down to your golf outing. Okay. So with the Philadelphia Phillies, we have a really special surprise. And first, before I go into this, I want to give a shout out to Derek Schuster and the whole Philadelphia Phillies organization on how they treat the fans and always going above and beyond to make the experience at the Phillies so special. It's just absolutely amazing. I love the Phillies and thankful for everything that they do. Do you have any plans this Friday?
No. Not.
So
No.
this Friday, you and your family are heading to Philadelphia Phillies game, 4 tickets. You, your dad, your mom, and your sister to sit behind the Phillies dugout. And wait, that's not it. You also have been invited to go on the field for batting practice with the Philadelphia Phillies. How's that sound?
Dude, you're gonna get to
Yeah.
meet some of the Phillies.
Yeah.
Decker's sport is baseball. Like that's what he plays. The last 2 years he played t-ball
I'm probably
So
right
you-
with baseball now.
and in regular baseball. Dude, you're gonna be on the field.
Now
You gotta
they're
give us.
heating up.
You gotta
They're heating
give.
up now
You
too.
gotta give us a flex though on the field. We want to flex on the field.
You're gonna
Can you
flex
give me
the Phillies.
how we do the flex? You gotta do the flex right now. How do you do the flex?
Thank you.
So are you excited?
Yeah.
I think it's
Just
amazing.
Watch out for
opportunity.
that fanatic. He's messed up our podcast before. You got to watch out for.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
pulled the plug out on us. He pulled the plug out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you know that big green thing? I don't even know what it is. It's called the Philly Phanatic. Did you ever see him before?
Yeah. I went to
He-
one of the games.
He blows his tongue out at you and everything like that. He's always spilling popcorn and he's really sloppy. And where you're sitting, Decker, believe it or not, the Phanatic comes down in the 7th inning and dances on the dugout, right where you guys are going to be sitting and watching the game.
We're gonna get to dance with the Fanatic.
You're going to be able to dance with the Phanatic, and you also are going to get a tour of Citizens Bank Park. We just need to get you down there earlier before this all goes down.
He will probably have a whole Lego replica built of that before we go or when we come back.
Of the baseball stadium. My goodness. I want to jump in your brain. I want to know what you see and how you develop and how are you so crafty and artistic and how you really bring everything to life. That's incredible.
And if you like
Our
candy, I
little-
don't know about now, but when I was a kid, I took a field trip. That was the old stadium. There's a place called Veterans Stadium, not as nice as where you're going. And
Not at all.
but when they would take people on a trip through there and take them on a visit and show them around there, they would get you like free tasty cakes and stuff like that. It's a fun trip. You're gonna have a great time.
I know what he's looking for, gentlemen. He already said it. They shoot those hot dogs out of the gun. I already know that. So, hot dogs, batting practice, Phillies, Philly Phanatic. Does
And
it get
Flex.
much better than that? And the
And
Flex. Hey, don't forget about our autographs.
That's right.
They want your autograph.
I was gonna sell that thing on eBay. I know him. Maybe.
I got it right here.
Maybe
We're gonna
not.
sell
Paul.
He's going to sell it on eBay. I know he is. Go ahead, Brian.
But it's been a fun time. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Decker. Thank you for telling us your story. Thank you for letting us know about the special muscles, about the architectural brilliance, everything. It's been one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. But an episode is not done until we ask one very, very important question. Decker, what time is it?
Game time.